guys, how you doing? Aloha. Okay, I got globally blocked for the first Gojira Amazonia, I believe it was. What a great track. Oh, I don't know what the record company's thinking, but I kind of found out that they quite haven't released the project, so maybe they're just holding it back and stuff. And anyhow, I did send in a request for review, and hopefully the record company or Team Gojira will convince them to let it go, so it's in their hands. But I'm not going to stop right there. I'm going to follow through with Gojira Flying Whales. So I want to thank you for hanging in there. I want to thank you guys. I had a bunch of fun comments on today's Throwback Thursday with Van Halen's Jump, a legacy track in your soundtrack of life. Even if you didn't love them, it still meant something because they were on such heavy rotation in the 80s, and if you're around for that, it definitely played some kind of part in your soundtrack of life. Anyhow, thank you so much for your support. Any advertisements run on this, you know the channel's not monetized when I do these videos. You want to buy me a cup of coffee, super cool beans. It also helps me what I do with the kids. The link for the kids is down there as well. And also, if you go to my front page and scroll down, I also have the kids channel. I want to be completely transparent about the things that I do, you know, because that's just how I am with my life in this pivot where I'm at, doing this, having a great time, sharing whatever thoughts I have with you, the pure listener. So anyhow, the link for that will be down below. And so, but let's get on with this. Gojira Flying Whales. All right. Okay, I want to stop there. I love how they're trancing us out and pulling us into this. First and foremost, there is a visceral, soulful feeling when you hear, you know, whales and dolphins communicate. You know, sometimes when I'm out here summertime and I'm, you know, diving and stuff and you get pod dolphins by, you can hear the clicking and stuff like that. There's something so beyond human about that. But the fact that they have, you know, some of the whale calls and stuff in here, even though there's like a little delay on some of them, I wanted to be really super cool with the whales out in the ocean. That, hey man, let's go ahead and throw some slap on this. I love the opening guitar pattern is very chill. There is a pedaled note through it, which means that there's one note that we kind of are hearing. We may not know that we're using it as a guide, but subconsciously we're hearing it. I think it's da da da. That note is kind of the play through. The drums, super unique, very wet, and no pun to the, you know, the whales thingy. And what I mean by that is listen to the kick and listen to the snare. It sounds like there's a plate reverb there, not super hard wide to give you some big wide ambiance, but you know how I'm kind of an engineering kind of guy as well. You know, when I do these breakdowns, it's just a soft, it's not theoretical, and I try not to go too deep because you, the pure listener who just loves the music and just kind of going on with me, I don't, you know, want to over demystify stuff. But if you listen to it, it's got reverb on the kick and the snare, and a lot of times the kick is very dry and packed, pushed, and and it hits a particular part of the tonal zone, which is low in here, right in your, right here. But right now it's being treated as just more like a mild percussive arrangement at the moment. Great, cool, super cool turnarounds by the drummer in the arrangement, where he doesn't change tempo, but he plays around with the phrasing a little bit and kind of, as we're setting you off on a really nice pattern, he might all of a sudden change the pattern around just a little bit for a couple bars. The bass, the bass is absolutely mental in this phrasing that he's playing right now, and I love that bass tone. It's kind of in its mids, and it's got a little peak up there, probably at about 5,000. Oh, there I go. I'm getting a little too out there. But I love the sound of the bass, and I also like his phrasings, the way he's playing, with the changes and stuff like that. Really super nice phrasings, and bass players a lot of time get the liberty to be a little more freer. A lot of times they're going to play straight, and they're going to lock in with the kick. The relationship between drums and the bass is important. A lot of times they're just going to go in straight, but they have a bigger liberty, like the drums do. Like drums have fills. When there could be a turnaround after 2, 4, 6, 8 bars, to accent coming back in on the one. Bass players have that same opportunity and use that quite a bit. So they're going to come around, they're playing the line, and then you'll hear. I'm sorry, that was my head doing its thing. It could be anything. It could be a slide. It could be a couple notes into a slide that brings you around, and it kind of telegraphs that the change is coming. Anyhow, so yabba-da-ba-ba, just me yapping on. Here we go. Okay, that was the change I guess we were all waiting for. I'm sure some of you are probably going, wait till he hears this, wait till he hears this. He thinks he doesn't know what he's in for. Okay, so yes, completely surprised at the change. Not set back, but surprised. So, I mean, I'm familiar with the band enough to know that the power is their game and stuff, and the darker, heavier, rhythmical arrangements and riffs and the really heavy growling performance is what they do, and I was expecting that at some point. Okay, remember I was talking about how the drums in that first section was engineered and arranged and performed in a particular way. When the drums came in, it went right back to straight, full-on metal people's elbow, just slamming on the drums, and the whole kit, EQ and position in the mix completely changed, so it sounded like to me. I'm sure those of you who are a lot more closer to the project and stuff, you help me out if there's anything that you know about that process. Because every now and then I'll get comments in the mix going, no dude, I was there during blah 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 and they actually did this. And those are the coolest comments ever. I love those comments. And then the darkness, that riff, it's something like that. That really is sticking in with me because it's straightforward and it's easy to remember. But the heaviness of the guitars, it sounds like the guitars are slightly washed with reverb to give it a very wide ambient kind of vibe, but not too much to mush it out. That's what it kind of sounds like in these old Decomposer kind of ears. Another thing that I like through the riff, and I've been saying this lately a lot during this week with a lot of the acts and bands and artists I've been listening to, is that riff is, and that you just got to count on that hi-hat to keep us, banging in there. A lot of times, you can, as I said this, and I think it was it Tool? The last Tool video I did where I said, Danny plays just to a point where if he just does a little too much, he's pushed the track into a whole different world. That's what I've been trying to tell him. They're coming to get me. That if it pushes too much, it takes it into a whole different genre and a different vibe and stuff like that. And so there's something to be said about staying within the power of simplicity, and then the drummer is just completely grinding through it. And the vocalist, even though I've done a couple of Gojira already, I'm not really familiar with the band members and stuff like that, but there's actually a tonal quality in his growl that I really super dig. So let's go back. crazy AF. I'm telling you. One of the things that I started to kind of dial into, that's when it kind of broke down and it got really soft and mellow, and there was just the guitar parts that were just, you know, playing a picked pattern. If you listen to what the drummer was doing on the cymbals, very nice, very cool dynamics. But one of the things for me, as an engineer, you know, we have typically when you set up for live drums, you have overhead mics. Not necessarily every cymbal gets a mic. You kind of rely on the power of these overheads. I mean, nowadays with all these great drummers that have all these incredible, you know, little China cymbals and different ways, because now the cymbals are becoming just as much as an amazing part of the drummer's arsenal, especially with today's, you know, progressive playing. You can hear the distance, like it feels, you can hear that he's playing these rides on two different sides. They don't necessarily ping left and right, but you can hear through the ambience, and it gives you that width. It sounds like, and I say that with humility because I don't know, 2 guitar overdubs maybe. Some layering going on there, to make it very rich and thick. When that guitar playing was being played during that nice little slowdown in the track, or just kind of a let go of a lot of the power, and they just had that. It kind of sounded like I heard a slightly different arrangement in this ear to this ear. That's the joy of engineering and layering when you're making an album and you're making a record and stuff like that, is that you can have that kind of fun and do that. What else did I wanted to say something about? Oh, and also the growling, the incredible performance of the lead singer. God, I listen to that, and for myself, I'm still like going, how do they do 10, 12, 15 tracks like that a night? And he's able to get up, or she, either one, male, female growlers are able to get up the next morning going, hey, what's up? You know, they have a cup of coffee, and their larynx and their lungs are not, and their vocal cords aren't dangling out of their mouth in revolt to a whole night of that. But it's just amazing. But I did hear quite a bit of layering in the growling aspects too. And when I said the tones of his growling, there was a point where there is a little something that's happening tonally in a hook. So there's the heavy growling, but there is a little bit of musicality, you know, slight melodic musicality in some of that really cut through. But there is quite a bit of layering with him that they're utilizing. So from top to bottom, Flying Whales was a great experience for me, because the other ones that I did of Gojira, very different in their styles of compositions and stuff, but they're, you know, obviously metal band all the way through and through, but it doesn't mean that you just stay in one particular way of playing throughout. So I don't know where this fits in the album discography. So where this song comes in, is it number 3, number 7, number 8, the last one, the first one? But I just love the fact that they just took us on a complete journey. Just by virtue of the name, you know, that's part of it. You know, they want to set the listener into play just by, oh, Flying Whales. What do I expect with that? They open up with these whale sounds and stuff, and they get you, like I said at the beginning, that minute and a half, maybe it was almost 2 minutes of just getting us fixated on that pattern was so well done. And it draws you in, and it keeps you in, and it keeps you in play. You know, and that's really great writing, composition, arrangement. You know, hats off to the producer, definitely the engineer as well. So anyhow, like I said, I wasn't going to let that Gojira Amazonia block get me down, so here you go, guys. You guys have a great day. I got some more fun stuff coming up tomorrow. I'm going to take a little break for the weekend and come back and do it again next week. Anyhow, thanks a lot for your support. If you see so fit, buy a cup of coffee. That'd be super cool beans. Link for that will be down there. The link for their music and discography and everything will be down below. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right.